Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Gunpla TV review. This time we are looking at the Gundam Aegis Knight from Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise. So before I begin, I do want to note that we actually could not show this box on our episode on Friday. There is a good reason for that. There are actually some spoilers that are contained on the box and in the manual. So if you are a fan of this show and you have not seen the most recent episodes yet, please be sure to check that out first before getting into this review, because there might be some spoilers in here. If you are interested in the anime, you can actually watch it. There's a link right on the box itself. There's a QR code. You can scan that and you can watch the show for free on YouTube. This is an upgrade for the character Kazami. He had a Gundam Justice Knight before. I believe that was based on the Infinite Justice, if I remember correctly. This Gundam is supposed to be based on the Aegis Gundam from Gundam Seed. So first, let's take a look at our runners. We have quite a few here. A lot of these are brand new pieces specifically for this kit, so they will actually say Gundam Aegis Knight on them. Other than that, we have a few from the Infinite Justice kit that came out not too long ago. There are actually no parts here from the Gundam Aegis from way back. I think that was from like 2002, quite a while ago. Probably because it's an older kit, we don't see any pieces here for that, but instead they opted to go for the Infinite Justice pieces. On top of that, you also have a couple runners here from the Gundam Justice Knight, as well as your typical stand that a lot of these kits are coming with lately, which is really nice. And also some really nice effect parts as well. This runner is labeled as Shinobi Pulse Beams from, I think it was copyright 2017. I'm not sure what kit this is from, but if you know, please leave a comment and let me know, because I'm quite interested in that. In addition, you also have a few stickers here, not too many. So you have one for the eyes, 3 for the chest, 2 for the head, and 1 for the skirt armor. So not too bad, just a little extra color separation and some extra detail there. You get quite a beefy manual here for a HG kit that comes in both English and Japanese as usual, and in a nice color and black and white as well. But not only that, you actually have a extra manual here as well for making the Re-Rising Gundam. So spoilers there, but we will get back into this soon. So fully completed, you have your Gundam Aegis Knight, you have your Shot Lancer Kai, the Aegis Shield, a Beam Rapier, a stand, and 15 effect parts. On top of that, you also have a few little extra pieces for holding the shield in the hand, and also some additional little extra adapters for the stand. So let's take a look at the articulation. First, you have your head that can rotate 360 degrees and is on a double joint for the neck. There's also a piece here on the top of the head that can slide forward and up to make a crown. I will get back into that as well. The arms have quite a lot of articulation at the shoulders. You can move them up and down and left and right. And I forgot to mention, there are no polycaps in this kit, so some people are neutral about this. Some people like them, some people hate them. Personally, I think it's nicer when you don't have them, and I think it's a little bit nicer designed when they're not there. For example, with this shoulder, it's really nicely done with just hard plastic pieces, and you get a lot of range of motion. The elbows are double jointed, and the hand is on a little ball peg. You can push the hand in to keep it stiff, or you can pull it out just a little bit so there's a little range of motion in the wrists. The wrists here are very stiff, which is great because his weapon is rather large, so you don't want this falling out all the time. I noticed that was the one big issue I had with the Tri-Age Magnum. There is some decent motion on the hips, so you can slide them back and forth and forward and back, and you can also turn it around 360 degrees, though a few pieces might get snagged on the way. On the back, you also have a cockpit. This can slide up for the transforming pose. The shoulder pauldrons are also on their own extra arms here and can pivot as well. And there's 2 flaps on either side. The skirt armor moves up and down. The back armor does not. There are 3 points of articulation on the side skirt armors. You can move it near the waist, and there's also an additional joint to move it forward and backwards and up and down. There's also a nice range of movement at the hips for the legs, and the knees are double jointed. The feet also have a nice range of movement at the ankles, and the heel actually moves as well. If you look upside down at the heels here, you'll notice that the back of the foot is actually a fist. This is for the Re-Rise Gundam. You don't notice it at first, but as soon as you're building this, you kind of can't unsee it. So it makes me wonder, when he's kicking people, is he also punching them too? So overall, really good articulation. He's a lot of fun to pose. You can get a lot of different poses out of him. The one thing I have a gripe with is the shoulder pauldrons. They look really cool, and I like that you can have them in a bunch of different poses, but the arms and the pegs that they are on are a little bit loose and wonky, and they don't sit quite right, and they kind of fall off easily, so they're a little bit of a hassle to pose. That is really the only complaint I have. So now let's look at some of the features here. So first off, let's look at the king mode. So the crest piece in the back of the head that I mentioned before slides up and forward to make a crown effect on his head. You also have an additional clear piece to put into the chest to complete this mode. The Karanos Hyper Beam Sword is assembled by taking the Aegis Shield and the Shot Lancer and combining them along with the effect parts. Oh, you also use the skirt armor on the Gundam itself as well to make the shield even larger. It looks quite nice. It's a little heavy, but it looks really good in a lot of poses. In addition, this kit, even though it's an HD, can actually transform. It has a mode called the High Speed Cruising mode, where you take the shoulder pauldrons off, turn the head around, adjust the skirt armor on the sides, and you can make it into a jet. In addition, there's also a mode called the Assault Combat mode. This is kind of like a halfway between the cruising mode and the normal Gundam mode. It has the cockpit facing forward and the head backwards. The thrusters on the feet and the pauldrons are facing backwards. I've not seen the most recent episode, so I'm not sure how this is used. It looks a little goofy to me, but any extra modes are always welcome. In addition, there's also another jet mode you can have. This is called the Core Fighter. This is used when all the additional parts come together to create the Re-Rising Gundam. Before moving on, I do want to talk about the effect pieces as well. These are great. They are on 3mm pegs, so you can use these on not only just this kit, but basically any kit that has 3mm pegs on it. They go on the feet here. They can go on the backpack. They can go on the thrusters. Oh, they can also go on the side skirt armor. So there's lots of places you can place these. You can get really creative with them. They are also used for the beam effects on the rapier and the hyper beam sword. I'm really glad that they added these into the kit because it gives you even more customization, and you can use these with a lot of your other Gundams as well. They look awesome. I'll try not to go into too many spoilers, so I'll avoid what's written in the manual or also what happened in the show. But quick rundown is that all the parts from the main characters of the show, they kind of kit bash them together to make one ultimate Gundam. So you have pieces here from the Wodam Pod, the Valkylander, the Core Gundam, and this Aegis Knight. The center of this thing is the Core Gundam, while the Wodam Pod serves as the legs and the back. The Valkylander parts become the wings as well as the crest on the Core Gundam. I was actually wondering why the Valkylander had these weird little pegs on the crown there. That explains it. It goes right into the head of the Core Gundam. In addition, the Aegis Knight serves as the arms and the shoulder pauldrons. It looks really, really cool. I prefer it by itself, but I'm never going to say no to little extra features like this. We are thinking about doing an extra video for that on its own because there's a lot of stuff to cover there, so I'd like to kind of do an extra video of all the articulation and movement and how to put that whole thing together. So look out for that in the future. So look out for that in the near future. So overall, what do I think about this kit? I think it looks amazing. A lot of these Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise kits are based off of other mobile suits, but this one is really its own thing. It's barely based on the Gundam Aegis, and it only has a few pieces here from the Infinite Justice, and that's really just for the articulation and the hips. The rest of this seems to be its own thing, and it looks really cool. Even though it's only a high-grade kit, the fact that it can transform is a really nice touch. The articulation on all the pieces is really, really good. The color separation is phenomenal, and there's a lot of little extra panel lining pieces here that if you used a Gundam marker would look amazing. I usually use a Gundam marker on my kits, but out of time constraints, I didn't get to do that this time. I really want to see what it looks like with proper panel lining. I would say this kit took maybe 3 hours. It's not too difficult of a build, but it was a lot of fun. I recommend this kit to anyone who just likes the look of it. If you are a fan of the show, absolutely. If you're looking to create the Re-Rising Gundam, go for it. Personally, I'm going to leave him just the way he is because I think he just looks really, really cool on his own. I may use some of the other effect parts there for some of the other kits though. That's a really nice touch, and I like that you can use those with some other kits if you have them handy. But yeah, another great addition to the Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise sets. Check it out. That's it from me. I'll catch you next time on another Gunpla TV review.